Hi there everyone, and welcome to the Parry guide for Dark Souls 3. The following guide includes overall explanation of the mechanic, and tips related to parry such as parry timings against different weapons and attacks, different parry techniques to try out, showcase of some unparryable attacks and how to counter parrying opponents. What the following guide does not include is the parry timings for PvE. This guide is made for PvP. It also doesn't include any DLC content. This guide was made when no DLC for Dark Souls 3 were out yet. Keep in mind that any info you see here is subject to change in the future patches of the game. This guide was recorded on PC in the version of 1.05 with regulations of 1.08. Feel free to use the annotations or shortcuts in the video description to skip to the different parts of the video if you do not want to watch the whole guide. Parrying is a useful technique in Souls games that when timed correctly lets you repel opponents' attacks. If you successfully parry your opponent, they enter into a brief stun animation where you get the chance to perform a devastating critical attack on them called riposte. You can riposte your opponent by pressing the light attack button near your opponent when they have entered the stun animation after getting parried. This often deals massive amounts of damage. Sometimes if you miss your parry timing just a bit, you take the damage from the attack you tried to parry, lose massive amount of stamina, but do not get stunned from the attack. This is called a partial parry. While parrying is a powerful mechanic, learning how to time your parry against different types of attacks and to know when not to parry is important. And that's what this guide is for. Remember, parrying is most effective when used sparingly. Spamming L2 in hope to pull off a successful parry can work at times, but against people who know how to counter your parrying attempts, this only gets you in trouble. There are also attacks in the game that simply cannot be parried. Parry is at its best when used as a part of your tactics, not as a main tool of dealing damage. Like everything else in Dark Souls 3 PvP, parrying is also affected by latency or lag. So use your own judgment whether or not to use it when your opponent has visual lag with you, since the parry timings might differ from what you're used to. My friend EIiitti here has a pretty neat way to test the connection between him and his opponent that I would like to share with you. In the start of all of his matches, he throws a throwing knife to the opponent and listens how much difference there is between the knife connecting with his opponent and the sound effect that comes out. If there's no noticeable latency between the visuals and the sound, connection is good enough for parrying with consistency. There are several parrying tools in the game that differ a bit in their properties. Parrying can be done with certain weapons, shields that have the shield icon next to them, or even with a bare fist. How these different tools differ from one another is based on three properties. Startup frames is the beginning part of the parry animation. If opponent's attack connects during these frames, you do not get a successful parry out, but you can get a partial parry that results to you taking damage to both your stamina and health, but you remain unstaggered by the hit. Active parry frames. If opponent's attack connects during these frames, you will get a successful parry out. Recovery frames. During these frames you cannot perform actions and will be left open for attacks. According to the recent frame data that was found out, these are the frame amounts of different parrying tools. You can find the link to the frame data in the video description. As you can see here, some tools are clearly better than others in terms of active and startup frames. But in this guide we try not to focus on this too much, but instead try to pinpoint the overall timings that work for all the tools. Of course, some tools have more room frame-wise for error, but the timing showcased on this video should work for all the tools in the game. In this guide we demonstrate the timings with the medium shield that stands as the average in both startup speed as well as active parry frame-wise. Here are some examples of attacks that can be parried with ease on first hit, that we would recommend parrying on reaction. When presenting the timings, I will first show the parry in normal speed, then in slow motion and stopping the screen indicating where you should press the parry button, with some highlighted visual cues you can use to help to pinpoint the timing when to parry. Following does not include charged heavy attacks, because timing on those often varies depending on the charge time. If the exact weapon you would like to know the parry timing against isn't on this list, try to implement the timing of some other attack that's showcased here that is the most similar looking to the one you're looking for, and see if it shares the same timing, since a lot of weapons share the same parry timings. In this next chapter of the guide, we showcase some different parrying techniques you can use. Setup parrying is one of the oldest parrying tricks in Souls games that works as a counter against opponents who like to spam attacks carelessly. Setup parrying is performed by blocking your opponent's attacks and landing your parry in between your opponent's swings. This means that you need a shield type parrying tool with preferably decent amount of stability to reliably use this technique. Keep in mind that some of the fastest weapons in the game are a lot safer to parry on third hit after 2 hits have connected with your shield, while medium speed attacks can easily be parried after the first hit connects with your shield. Against the slowest weapons in the game, you even need to wait a brief moment after the first hit connects with your shield before you parry, to land the parry on the second swing. Remember to be careful about your stamina while attempting to set up parry, so you don't get card crushed. Recovery parry is something you can perform after you get hit by a spamming opponent. Dark Souls 3 has a stun lock prevention system that lets you escape most attack chains after 2 hits. So if you feel like your opponent is spamming attacks carelessly, you can also turn the situation around and parry after you recover from the second hit. This works against rolling and running attacks as well, but since those attacks have decreased hit stun compared to normal light attacks, you can parry those straight after the first hit. Many players also tend to attack right after trading, so you can use this opportunity to attempt a parry as well. If you're on the attacking side, you can also try to parry after you have landed 2 attacks to your opponent, since some players tend to attack when they recover from the stun. Post-parry techniques might be a bit more advanced and is only recommended after you have gotten really confident with your parry timings. You can swap equipment between landing a parry and riposting, but it demands a fast timing. Equipment most commonly swapped after the parry are the Hornet Ring that boosts your critical damage, or your weapon to something stronger. Keep in mind that in order to make this easier, you should organize your menu beforehand, so you can reach the items you swap to as fast as possible. If you want to add more damage to your riposts, you can also apply different elemental bundles to your weapon before riposting. While we are talking about parrying, it's also important to know how to counter a parrying opponent. Here are some ways you can prevent getting parried. Jump attacks with all the weapons in the game are unparryable. Kicks cannot be parried. However, keep in mind that weapons like scimitars and rapiers have special kick animations, and those attacks can be parried. You can always try to punish parry attempts by backstabbing. Most effective way to do this is to rush towards a parry-happy opponent and bait them to go for a parry thinking that they will parry your running attack, but you punish the attempt by running into their back and backstabbing them instead. Dead angle can make your regular attacks unparryable from the front, by removing the target lock and positioning yourself during the swing roughly at 90-degree angle from your opponent. Unlike the dead angle in Dark Souls 3 this technique does not bypass shields, but instead forces the opponent to miss their parry attempt and take the partial parry damage. Here are some examples of attacks that cannot be parried in the current version of the game. Something we noticed while recording this guide was that so far all the hyper armor weapons with enough range can avoid getting parried if used from max range, even if they could be parried from up close. We didn't test 100% of the weapons in the game, so there can be some exceptions. Thank you for watching this guide, and hopefully it turns out useful for some of you. Take care.